All right, today we're going to talk about driving for an owner-operator, pulling containers, and doing a 50-50 split. Oh my God, look at this Chevy Nova, Mustang, Pontiac, Camaro. Oh my God, that guy's got to be making some killer money. All right, I'll start out. First of all, if you're new, if this is the first time seeing one of my videos, hit that like button or dislike button, whatever, I really don't care. And subscribe. That's the main thing. Subscribe. Tell your friends, have them subscribe. How I got into driving for an owner-operator, and of course later went and leased my own truck with Lone Mountain and did that whole thing. So I was I was a company driver pulling day cab. Man, that gets so boring so fast. You go here and then you go there and dropping and hooking and just all day long, just dropping and hooking and going to this same place and going to that same place. I mean, it's almost as bad as going and doing some shift work. I mean, it pretty much was shift work. I got up at 5 or 6 in the morning and got off at 3, 4, 5, 6 in the afternoon, just depending on how much was going on that day. I just really got old really quick. A big thing is when I think I'm going home or when I think that I'm about to be done for the day, I want to be done for the day. And that job wasn't like that at all. Like, I would try to make it like that. They would have X amount of loads for me when I came in that morning, or when I got rolling, the loads for my day would be on the computer. I'd say, okay, they'd actually be there the day before, so I could look for the next day and say, okay, I got 6 loads tomorrow. I know I can get done by this time and be off work by this time. And sure enough, when I'd be getting that 5th or 6th load done, they'd be calling, wanting me to do some other crazy stuff that was going to add 3 or 4 hours to my shift or whatever. And would end up maxing out my clock for the day, getting home, being dog tired. It's not like I just sat and drove all day. There was a lot of stuff to it. So anyway, but not to get stuck on that. Was looking to do something else. I had a friend that I actually went to CDL school with that when we got out of school, I started with this company. He hadn't found anything yet, so I talked him into coming over to this company. He left before I did and started pulling containers for an owner-operator. His brother, I think, knew somebody. And yeah, so he got into doing that. So I got to hear all about it for the first, he was probably over there a good 6 months before I finally decided to check more into it. But so he was doing that. He was really enjoying it. He was actually going into the port every day, was knocking that out. And he really wasn't making that good of money, but other guys were. And I mean, he kind of wasn't making real good money by his own choice. He just wanted to do 1 run a day. They really didn't pay a whole lot for 1 single load, because you really could get 2 of those loads in a day where he was. And so I mean, that was kind of his choice. But you know, him telling me potentially what I could make was like, wow, okay, so it's maybe a couple $100 better than what I'm doing over here right now. And I get to be home every day, get to choose my own loads. So I kind of put some feelers out there, but checked in with a guy that he knew that was a owner-operator of 5 or 6 trucks. Not the guy that he drove for, but a friend of his. And checked with him. Kind of got the runaround a little bit on that. But in the meantime, while I was waiting on that guy to come up with an empty truck for me to get into, I found a post on Facebook, a guy looking for an owner-operator pulling containers out of Savannah, or a driver rather. So I called this dude and Sorry, I got my gum stuck up in my... Anyway. Called this guy, and he was actually just a driver for this other guy. And he was like, okay, he was like, well, the guy that I drive for is not real social media friendly, so I just got on there and was looking for a driver for him, but here's his number. So I called the guy. He lived like 30 minutes from my house. Went over there, looked at the truck that he had. He told me all about it, the company that I would be pulling for, which was a different company than my buddy was pulling for altogether, doing a whole completely different thing. Still pulling containers out of Savannah, but didn't have to go into the port, nothing like that. So checked out the truck. Truck was like a piece of crap, man. The gas gauge didn't work, or fuel gauge didn't work. Speedometer didn't work. He's like, well, if you got a truck at GPS, it'll show you how fast you're going. Had to dip a stick in the tank to see how much fuel was in it. So he could tell I wasn't real enthusiastic, but I said, okay, well, I'll think about it. And he's like, well, you know, if you come over here, man, you know, we'll be splitting like $2,200, $2,100 a week, easy, you know. And I was like, all right, well, you know, that sounds pretty good, but, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, man, I ain't driving this piece of crap down the road, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway, he called me 2 days later and said, hey, man, I just bought a 2007, I think it was, a 2007 black Freightliner Columbia. I was like, he said, if you know of any other drivers want to drive, you know, let me know. I said, well, I don't know of any other drivers, but I really want to come drive for you, but I don't want to drive that Kenworth you showed me. Let me take a look at this black one that you just bought. And he's like, well, come look at it, come look at it. So I went down there and looked at it. Man, this thing was like awesome. There wasn't a whole lot done to it, but it was just immaculate, like so well taken care of. And I was like, okay, I'll drive for you, but I want to drive this one. And he was like, fine, yeah, it's yours, man, go ahead. So he told me where we'd be signing on to, and like the next day, or it might have been the next week or something. This might have been on like a Friday, and I went down there the next Wednesday and signed on with the company and just started rolling out, man. Every day, it just take it empty into Savannah, drop it on the yard, pick up your load for the day, head to your stop in Atlanta or wherever for the day. And normally on my way to the stop, they would call and you know, give me like a choice of like 4 or 5 things to pick from for the next day. Just boom, boom, every day. Even on Saturday, they'd be calling me. Well, it was awesome. I mean, I was making like $1,100 a week, and the way that it worked, with gross, which is what it is before anything comes out, any fuel, they charge you for their e-logs, insurance, you know, bobtail, physical damage insurance, cargo liability. They charge you all that, and they're like $40, $50, $60 charges on every paycheck. So before anything come out, it'd be like $3,000 something, and then they'd take everything out, and all the fuel that I used for the week, they gave me a fuel card. I put my fuel in, and the way that I did it was, and still do to this day, is most guys will go on Sunday or go on Monday and they'll fill up their truck, okay? And then when it gets low, Wednesday or Thursday, they'll go back and they'll fill it up again, or fill it up enough to get them through the rest of the week. And I don't like doing that, because say I go on Sunday or Monday and I fill up for the week, and then the next day something happens to my truck and my truck goes down and I'm out the rest of the week. Well, I've just put in hang on, I was getting a call, sorry. I've just put in like $500-600 worth of fuel that's gonna come out of my settlement of one day. You know, that I got one run on that might have paid $600, so now I have no paycheck that week. When if I had just fueled for the day and put a couple $100 in, there you go. So I'd at least get a little something. So that's the way I did it. So they would take all that out for the week. It'd usually be about $1,000, $900 in fuel, and then your other expenses. But the way that it kind of worked was you would get a fuel discount because the company has a fuel discount, like Pilot, Love's, all that kind of stuff. So if you filled up at one of those places, the amount that you saved on fuel would actually cover, you know, because the pump says $200, but you're actually getting some off of that, so it's not really $200, and that kind of adds up. And then at the end of the week, that amount that you saved would cover your cargo liability, bobtail, all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of cool. So you really didn't have to account for that. You just say, okay, I'm going to put $200 or $250 worth of fuel in this day, subtract it by how much my load pays for the day, and you got a pretty good estimate of what your settlement was going to be. Okay, so if I had a $600 load, put $200 worth of fuel in that day, that means I was making $400 off the load. Then after a 50-50 split, that's $200 a day, 5 days a week. That's $1,000 a week. So kind of got a good idea. So I was doing that. So did that, really liked it. Some stuff started happening with the truck. It started skipping and all this kind of stuff. Some lights started going out on it, and the guy that I was driving for, he was just real busy. You know what I mean? It's not like he did it intentionally, but I couldn't just like get it by there for him to fix real quick, you know. So I would either have to try to rig it myself and get it fixed and patched up as much as I could, or I would just have to drive with it being messed up. So it finally started skipping so bad that it was undrivable. So he had to take it, and he tried this and he tried that. And he's also the kind of guy that doesn't want to put it in the shop and just be done with it. He's a little mechanical, so he tries to do it himself. Well, you know, what should have took 2 days to fix took 4 days to fix. And that was kind of the beginning of like, okay, well, if I had my own truck, I could do it on my terms. I could get to rolling when I want to get rolling and handle things a little bit more efficiently. So I thought. So, you know, that just kind of kept growing in my mind. Like, you know, I could be making like $2,000 a week instead of $1,000, and, you know, splitting it with myself and growing my trucking company and all this. And, you know, I won't recover what we did in the last video talking about why I came back, but I just wanted to kind of explain a little bit about driving for an owner operator and doing a 50-50 split, some of the pros, cons, and how it works. So I've already gone over how it works as far as getting paid. So yeah, now the guy that I drive for, also anything over $1,000 that you make him, so say the settlement is $2,200 and I get $1,100 and he gets $1,100, he only keeps up to $1,000. That other $100 he puts back for you to give you back as a Christmas bonus at the end of the year. So say we made $2,400 that week, I got $1,200 and he got $1,200. He would only keep $1,000 and put $200 back for me that week, and then give it back to me at the end of the year for a Christmas bonus, which I always thought was pretty cool. So so here's some things to think about if you're looking into driving for an owner operator and doing a 50-50 split. First of all, know the guy. Or I'm not going to say know the guy because I didn't know the guy, but pay attention. Pay attention close the first few months that you're driving for him. How fast does he get your truck fixed? If you go down, is he gonna, fart around and spend 2 weeks trying to get your truck fixed? He's still got 4 or 5 other trucks rolling out there making him money, and you ain't got nothing. You sitting at home not bringing in a paycheck. So how quick is he gonna be about getting your truck fixed? Okay, so why I went back to doing, sold the truck to him and went back to doing the 50-50 split. Headache. Number one headache. It was just a lot of stress. Just a lot of stress on financial. Is the truck gonna work today? If it breaks down today, am I gonna have enough money to fix it? What taxes do I got coming up? Do I got my 2290 covered? Did I do my portion plates right? Just all this stuff that, doing the 50-50 split, you don't have to worry about. Also, if you're doing it right, right, and you're splitting the money with yourself, then what is the difference? Except the headache, okay? When I owned the truck, if I was doing it right, my paycheck would be $2,000. My settlement would be $2,000. I'd split it down in the middle, put $1,000 towards the truck to deal with all the breakdowns and the shaking and the taxes and the what ifs, and then I'd keep $1,000. Okay. But I'd still have to worry about all that. I still had to pay it all. I still had to make sure that $1,000 was covering everything, that I wasn't hemorrhaging out money on the truck faster than I was able to put it in there. All that I'd have to worry about. And now I don't. So what's the trade-off? The trade-off is that now I'm on somebody else's schedule. If I got a tire problem and he wants to put a half-balled tire back on it that I know that I'm gonna have problems with in 2 weeks, oh well, that's not my call to make, so that's something that I'm just gonna have to deal with in 2 weeks. Okay, if there's a problem with the truck that he wants to patch up the best that he can, I'm gonna have to let him patch it up the best that he can and deal with it. If something's broke on the truck that I need fixed, that I know that DOT would get me over, then it's either risk it or tell him I ain't driving. It ain't like I can just go fix it. Things to check for and ask yourself. First of all, ask yourself, what are the trade-offs? Okay, I'm gonna make $1,000. Let's just say theoretically, on average, I'm gonna make $1,000 a week. Okay, I'm gonna be home every night if I want to be. I'm not gonna have to deal with back hauls. I'm not gonna have to deal with somebody telling me where to go and how to go. I'm not gonna deal with somebody forcing me to exceed my hours. Okay, these are things that when you're an owner-operator, because even though you're driving for an owner-operator, you're still treated by the company that you're leased to as an owner-operator. You still get your choice of loads, you still call the shots, you still decide what you want to do. Okay, so you get to do all that. All right, those are the benefits. Those are some of the benefits of doing this. Okay, now some of the cons. If I go over here and I company drive, theoretically, if I wanted to, I could easily make $1,000 a week as a company driver. I'm not going to be home every night. If you drive for a flatbed or a regional outfit, you might be able to get home on the weekends. You're not going to be able to call the shots. You're going to go where they say to go, when they say to go there. And you might be pushed for your hours, But on the flip side, if your truck breaks down, they're going to put you in something else. Either that, or they're going to put you in the shop right there, have you towed to the shop, no big deal, and then you're gonna get paid for sitting there. You know, you're gonna get paid if you're driving for any kind of decent company at all as a company driver. You're gonna get paid some kind of layover pay or breakdown pay or something, you know. And it ain't gonna be great, but you ain't gonna be sitting at the house making nothing, you know. Driving for an owner operator, doing it yourself, you're not gonna have any kind of insurance, no benefits, no future investments, 401k, nothing like that. If you drive for a company, you're gonna deal with all that stuff I just talked about. They're gonna give you a 401k that they may or may not even match. You know, they may match it for you. You put $1 in, they put $1 in, up to X amount. You know, you may get some kind of employee savings account. Paid holidays, a lot of times, sick time. You know, things like that. You got your taxes taken out already. You ain't got to deal with doing taxes yourself or keeping 20% for taxes. It's all done already. If you pay child support, they're going to take it out of your paycheck if that's the way you got it set up. You know, if you work for yourself, they can't take it out of your paycheck. You 1099. At least the state of Georgia, they can't take it. You know, you got to pay it yourself. So that's something else you got to worry about. And a lot of times when you see that money and you need that money, it's hard to let go of it. It's hard to let go of. All right. So, I mean, I struggle with that too. Because we all just a penny above broke. You know what I'm saying? So, but when it's taken out of your check, you never even see it. And it comes out pre-taxed. Think about that too. So, you know, there's a lot of things to think about. It ain't as gravy as it seems. The number one thing is calling your own shots. You know, if I need off that day, it's no problem. You know, if I need a later appointment for the next day, it's no problem. You know, if I don't want to go real far away today, but tomorrow I want to go 3 states over, it's my call, you know. But what are you trading for that? You're not making a whole lot more money doing it this way. You're not making a ton more money doing the 50-50 split. You're not building any kind of financial future for yourself unless you make enough to where you can put some of your paycheck back yourself or put it into a high interest savings account or a high yielding stock trading account or something like that. You know, unless you got the money that you can take it out and do it yourself, you know, there's no kind of benefits like that. Insurance, you know, I have Crohn's disease, so it's a chronic disease that causes me to need daily medication that's super expensive. It's about $500 a month just for the pill form that I take, which isn't nearly as effective as the shots that I need that I would get twice a month that are $1,300 a month per shot, and there's 2 shots a month that I need to get. I can't afford that, so I got to take these pills that are still $500 a month that work half as good. So, you know, anybody with any kind of chronic condition like that, think about that, you know, because when I started doing this, we were on my wife's insurance, but then she left that job and went to another job that didn't offer that kind of insurance, or didn't offer any insurance. Actually, they offered insurance, but they were going to cut her pay if she got the insurance. So she could either take what the position paid per hour with no insurance that was advertised as per hour, or she could take like $3 less an hour and get insurance that was already extremely expensive. So we opted out of that. A big thing is just downtime. You know, when this truck breaks down, I sit at the house. I sit at the house until he says that it's fixed. Nothing. You know, no compensation of any kind, you know, which I can't say that I'd offer compensation of any kind. If I had drivers driving for me, you just can't do it. It's not feasible, you know. I've heard of some guys, some truck owners, you know, they'll slide their guy a couple $100 a week that sat at the house all week. To be honest, I can't imagine doing that. I'd go broke, you know. I mean, you got 6 trucks, one of them's down probably all the time. But you sliding $200 a week to these drivers just sitting at the house, you know. I don't know that I'd be able to do it, but just some things to think about. If you got any questions that I didn't cover, I tried to make me like a little list today of things to go over. If I didn't cover something that you have a question about, taxes, your owner operator will 1099 you, not the company that you're leased onto. That company will 1099 him, he'll 1099 you. So that's the way that works. So if any other questions that I didn't cover about doing a 50-50 split, just hit me up in the comments, ask anything, and yeah, we'll talk to y'all later. Out.